Jobs report out for January on this Friday. Unemployment rate rising to 5.7%. We added 257,000 jobs last month and more Americans out looking for work. But the real unemployment rate, when you factor in the underemployed or those who have simply given up for looking, that's 11.3%. We talked to the chairman and CEO of Gallup yesterday on an article he wrote about what he calls the Great American Lie.
The number of full-time jobs, and that's what everybody wants, as a percent of the total population is the lowest it's ever been. That's what that number doesn't show. The consequences are of that. Well, there was at the recession, we lost 13 million jobs. Only 3 million have come back, and you can't see that in that number.
Laffer is the former economic advisor for President Reagan. Reagan, by the way, born on this day in 1911. Art, how are you? And good morning. Thanks for coming back.
Very well, thank you, Bill.
Here.
How are you today?
What did you think of the CEO of Gallup right there, talking about the big American lie? He says we're not looking at all the numbers.
Yeah, he's factually correct. I wish he didn't use the word the big American lie. I mean, that doesn't encourage discussion. But he's exactly correct. All the reduction in the unemployment rate has basically come from people deserting the labor force. They haven't found jobs. They've left the labor force. And if you look at some of these areas, like black teenage unemployment, I mean, it's crazy terrible. You look, black teenage employment as a share of their population is about 19%. That's down from 30% when Clinton left office. So, you know, this has been a very, very long, deep recession, depression, and the recovery is the worst in the history of the U.S.
Let me give you the headline from the AP, and you react to this, okay? U.S. employers added 257,000 jobs. Wages rose, and Americans sought work in January. Is that good news?
Well, it's better than it's better than it has been for the last several months. It is, and then they revised the last couple of months where they raised the number of jobs up in the last couple of months, previous ones. So that's all good news compared to the history. But the history of these employment numbers is terrible, Bill. I mean, when we were in office in the 80s, we were creating way more jobs than this guy is creating. It was much better for the economy. And this is really a terrible recovery, but it's less terrible this month than it was last month or the month before. How's that for putting it?
Okay, slightly better then. All right. What Clifton argues is that you need to create 10 million new jobs.
That's right.
In order to restore the middle class. Is he right?
Exactly. He is exactly right. I mean, his point is totally, totally correct. I just think he's brilliant on that. And if you look at employment to population, which is what he did, that is exactly the correct way to look at it. And that number fell sharply in the Great Recession, way down. It was 64.5%. When Clinton left office, it fell to 59%, 58.5%, and now it's just a little bit over 59% for the last 5-6 years. This is a tragic non-recovery. Well, Clifton's exactly correct.
You say you don't like the use of the word lie.
I don't. That's not a nice word.
He used it in his piece, I think, once or twice. But the reason he used that, Art, I think this is very important to understand, is that he thinks Washington, our politicians, want Americans to believe that things are getting better, and so does Wall Street, so they stay in the market. Well, now, why is that a lie?
Well, you know, I've been in the White House myself back years ago and been involved with this, and they all want to do that, Bill. They all want to put the sunny side, the twist, the spin, and everything. I mean, if you called every politician's comments a lie, you would only use the word, every other word in talking about them. You know, what happens here is what everyone else has done. They've looked at the unemployment rate. There is no change in the way we calculate the unemployment rate, to my knowledge, and they always tout the best number they can. Jim Clifton is correct. The correct number to use is employment as a share of population, which includes people who are so discouraged they leave the labor force. They should be included as part of the unemployment rate the way Jim Clifton does it. Well, when you say lie, it just turns the conversation into a battle.
Just one more point on that. This got a lot of play all day yesterday, and people will talk about it again today. He says the employment number in America, without question, is the most important number you will find across the country, because people need a job and they need to know that they have a good job. In his words, not a crappy job. His quote.
Yeah, he can adjust the unemployment rate to the 11.3 if he would like. I look at total employment as a share of population, but it's the exact same concept Jim Clifton and I use, and he's exactly correct on his conclusions.
All right, let's talk. Let's talk again in a couple weeks, okay?
Thank you very much.
Of Nashville, you got it. Thanks for coming back here. You got it.
And a nice happy birthday for the Reagan birthday, by the way.
Indeed. Thank you, Art. Here's
Thank you.